So in a couple previous videos I had put out, we had done a review on the PC Engine Mini, and then I also did one on the TurboGrafx Mini, and I gave you guys my opinion on which one I thought was best. And I got a lot of feedback, some people that definitely disagreed with me, so what I did is I got my hands on the PC Engine Core Grafx version, and we are going to go ahead and take a look at that today. This is Steve from Restalgia, and let's get started. Now, the first thing that I want to say is that I am not somebody who is afraid to admit he is wrong. And I've done a lot of thinking. I went through the comments, I read all the comments, and I reviewed everything. And I really thought about my position about why I thought the PC Engine was better than the TurboGrafx 16. And a lot of people were saying, Steve, there's no way that you can pick the PC Engine over the TurboGrafx 16. The 2 extra games that were included on it were heavily in Japanese. You wouldn't be able to play them anyways, and things like that. And although that's true, my decision wasn't based off of the games. It was based off of the size of the console. The TurboGrafx 16 was just so big, and I really didn't like that. That being said, we are going to go ahead and take a look at the Core Grafx today, so I actually may change my mind about this. Now, before we get this out of the box, I do want to talk about the game selection on here, and the big thing here is that the Core Grafx actually comes with the exact same software as the TurboGrafx 16. So they actually both have the exact same games on the PC Engine side, and they both have the same games on the TurboGrafx side. So that's something to keep in mind when you're making your purchasing decisions as well. Now let's go ahead and get this thing out of the box. First thing that we're going to see out of the box is our instruction manual, and I've got to say it is substantially bigger and thicker than any of the other versions, and the reason for that is because it has multiple languages included. Just like with our other mini consoles, we've got a micro USB cable, and we've also got an HDMI cable. Next, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the controller, and this thing looks really awesome. And yes, it's the same form factor as the PC Engine and the TurboGrafx 16. I just really like the artwork on it. I like the gray with the blue and black accents. I just think it looks really sharp. You may not agree, and that's totally fine. I just happen to like the way this looks the best. Next, we're going to take a look at the actual console, and when we get this thing out, the same is true. I absolutely love the fact that it is small. And of course, this isn't really that much smaller than the original console, but it is in line with all of our other classic consoles that we would have gotten from any of our other brands like Sony or Nintendo. It just works well when you've got these sort of things sitting on your desk and you don't have this big clunky TurboGrafx 16. Now don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the TurboGrafx 16 Mini, I just think it's too big. And to show you guys what I mean by that, if I grab my TurboGrafx 16 and I put this on the desk here, I can literally take both my PC Engine and my Core Grafx Mini and put them side by side on top of the TurboGrafx 16, and the TurboGrafx 16 is still bigger. It's just a really big system. That being said, let's get back to the Core Grafx. It's very similar in terms of form factor to the PC Engine. Everything in terms of the inputs and outputs are all the same. If you take a look on the front, we've got 2 USB ports, and to the left of that, we've got our power switch, which will also bring out the locking mechanism for the HuCard port. Taking a look at the top of the device, we can also see it does include the AC adapter and the AV out text that would be written on the actual console. Now, of course, on the sides, there's really nothing there, but as with the PC Engine, we do have that extension bus cover on the back of the console. And I don't know why I like this so much, I just really like this. I think it's just a cool little thing that they've included. And as you can see underneath of that, we've got our HDMI and our DC in. Now, in terms of the visual aesthetics, I do actually like the TurboGrafx visually more, but I do really like the Core Grafx and the way it looks. I like the powder blue on charcoal kind of color scheme that they've got going on with it, and I think it just looks really nice. Now, I do want to mention that another thing some people were mentioning and commenting quite frequently is that in neither of my videos did I talk about the hidden games or the alternate versions of some of the games. And to be completely honest, when I did the review for PC Engine, I actually didn't know that those existed. I did know about it with the TurboGrafx 16, I just didn't think to include it in the video, so I'll be sure to do that in this one. So with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and take our console, plug it in, and get this thing loaded up. Okay, so we've got this up and running. Now, just like with the TurboGrafx 16 and the PC Engine, you're going to get all the same menus, all of the same options. So we're going to go ahead and select English. And as you can see, it even preloads into TurboGrafx 16, which is actually kind of surprising. I thought it would for sure load into PC Engine on the Core Grafx side. But if I select PC Engine, I'd imagine that the Core Grafx is going to be preloaded. So we're going to go ahead and try that out. And here it is, just like I thought. So your PC Engine Core Grafx template's going to be on display, but for whatever reason, it was defaulted to open up in TurboGrafx 16, which is a little bit weird because we are playing on the Core Grafx, so you would imagine that it should jump into the Core Grafx menu. That being said, the Core Grafx menu is going to be all the Japanese games, TurboGrafx 16 is all the English games, so maybe that's why they did that. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time with the settings. You guys know what they are. I've done all of this in my other videos. You can see everything is exactly as it would be. Same with down to your menu design. If you really like your PC Engine style, you can go with that. But we're going to go on back. So the big thing that a lot of people were upset that I didn't mention was the fact that there are some hidden games built right into the console. We've got a couple of them. And then there's also alternate versions of certain games. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly show you guys a couple of those things. And then I'm just going to give you guys my final verdict on which console I would recommend at this point having all three. And then we're just going to wrap up the video. So let's go ahead and take a peek. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is that there are some alternate versions of some games in here. So the ones that come to mind would be Gradius 1 and Gradius 2. There's also Salamander on here, which will also have an alternate, almost like an arcade-like experience. So we're just going to shoot over and we are going to try to find one of them. So there's Salamander, there's Gradius. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're just going to jump into Gradius to show you guys what the menu would look like and what the game's going to look like that way. We're just going to go ahead and run this. And then if you want to access the alternate game, what you're going to do is you're going to hold the select button, and then you're either going to press run or you're going to press the 1 button. So we're going to go ahead and do that as well and take a peek at the menu. And there you go. So as you can see, this is actually a slightly different version of the game. It's kind of cool that they included it, and they've done that with a couple other games. Like I said, you can do the same with the Gradius 2. You can do the same with Salamander. So there's a lot of those kind of cool things included. Now we're going to go on back to our main menu here, and we're going to talk about those hidden games. On the PC Engine, the hidden games would have been on the PC Engine side, and it would have been on that Toki Meki Memorial game, and what you would have done is you would have hit the select button twice, and then it would have chimed, and then you'd go ahead and run the game, or you would hit the select button 3 times, and it would chime, and then you'd have access to your other games. So the first game, if you hit it twice, you would have access to is Force Gear, and then the second game was Twin Bee. Now you can actually still access those games here, and they're going to be under the Salamander game. So like I said, Salamander holding select and running the game is going to give you like an arcade-like experience, a slightly different version of Salamander. But if you go ahead and hit select twice, which I'm going to do right now, just listen for the chime. And then if you hit run, you're actually going to get your first game, which is going to be Force Gear. And there it is. So as you can see now, we've got Force Gear up and running. Now I'm not going to play it. We're just going to go back to our menu. And the same system is going to be true. If we hit select 3 times, you're going to hear that we got 2 chimes happening there. You would have gotten your first chime after you hit the select the second time, and then if you hit select 1 more time, you'll get another chime, and that's going to give us access to Twin Bee. So just to show you guys that, we're going to jump into the game. And there it is. So now you can see we definitely have those hidden games. And you know, having these games in here does make a difference. I mean, if I'm going to shoot back to the main menu here, my honest thoughts on this is that the PC Engine did come with more games. And my biggest gripe with the TurboGrafx 16 was not the fact that they got rid of those 2 games, because I do understand most people in North America and in Europe are not going to be able to play them because they aren't fluent in Japanese. But the thought was that we actually ended up with less games overall, and that didn't make sense because there was a large enough library, and Konami has the rights to a ton of games that they could have thrown on there, even if it was just 1 or 2 extra games to make up for it. Now, yes, we do have Salamander, but we are still missing a game overall. Now that being said, the reason I had picked PC Engine as my personal favorite was the form factor. And I do gotta say that the form factor is the same with the Core Grafx, and you get the added benefit of having the turbo buttons, which makes a big difference for a lot of the games. I mentioned there's gonna be a few of them on here that most people are not gonna be able to beat without having those turbo buttons. So I definitely think that the winner of all three of those is going to go to the Core Grafx just because of practicality. We're going to get all the same games you would have gotten on TurboGrafx 16. We've got the hidden games. We've got the alternate versions of the games. Salamander is a fairly good game to play as well, but the big thing is that the form factor is convenient and we get the turbo switches on those controllers. So that's my final verdict. Core Grafx is the winner. Now, with all of that out of the way, please let me know your thoughts. Tell me in the comment section if I am dead wrong or if you agree. Is this one that you would consider picking up? Have you already ordered yours? Are you happy with it? Tell me all about it. But that's all I've got for you guys in this video. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up. Give the video a thumbs down if you disagree with my opinion on this. And that's more or less it. Thank you so very much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys again real soon.